is Jason Mazurek. He was last seen outside of Wrest Point Casino in Sandy Bay, which is in Hobart, Tasmania, in the early hours of Sunday the 15th of September 2002. Jason disappeared and has not been seen for the past 22 years. Jason Mazurek was all about family. He is the second oldest of 6 kids and the only boy. His sister remembers him as very quiet and shy, but also a very caring and lovely person. Jason had worked a few odd jobs since he finished school, but had finally decided he wanted to join the Navy. When Jason went missing, he was in the process of joining along with his best mate Michael. On Saturday the 14th of September, Jason had been at his sister Jess's hockey grand final with his mate Michael. Jess had won and he planned on helping her celebrate that night. His sister Jo, who he was staying with while in Hobart, remembers when he came home, he was in a really happy mood. He came home and said to Jo, "Jo, I feel like going out." She said she replied by telling him to leave his phone at home. He always lost it when he went out, so he agreed. As he was leaving, he kept popping his head in and out of the door, saying, "Love you, love you." When he decided to leave, he turned to her and said, "See ya, I won't thump the door on my way in." That was the last thing he ever said to Jo. After Jess finished celebrating with her hockey team, she met up with Michael and Jason at the Wrest Casino. She also noted that Jason was in a very positive mood. At around 2 a.m, they decided to call it a night. Jess and Jason met up in the casino foyer, but Michael was not with him. Jess asked Jason where Michael was, but he said he wasn't sure. Jess said she remembered seeing him in the casino's nightclub, so she decided to go and get him while Jason waited in the foyer of the casino. Jess believed she was gone less than 10 minutes, but when Michael and Jess came back, Jason was gone. At first they thought he'd maybe gone to the toilet or elsewhere near the entrance, so they waited for him. As time ticked by, they grew concerned and began looking for him. A couple of hours later, they were sure he was not at the casino and decided to grab a taxi and see if he'd walked home. They had the driver follow the road home. They thought that maybe he would have walked, but there was no sign of him. When they arrived home, they mentioned to Jo that they could not find Jason. They considered the possibility that Jason decided to walk home, but the casino was roughly a 2-hour walk back to Jo's house. They also didn't believe he would have left his sister behind or his mate Michael, who planned on staying with him that night. They decided to call the police straight away to report Jason missing. Unfortunately, the police didn't take it seriously and told them they had to call back after a certain amount of time. The sisters waited that length of time and called back straight away. Again, the police still didn't take it seriously, and the sisters ended up having to do a lot of the searching themselves. The police did manage to get the footage or the surveillance footage from the casino 3 weeks after the day Jason went missing. It shows Jason heading towards the ATM there, but the ATM was not in view. A few minutes later, Jason walked back into view of the camera and was being led out the front with the casino's security. There were no cameras outside the casino, so there's no way to tell what happened when he was led outside. Jason has not touched his bank account since that night and has now been missing for 22 years.